All right, we are here cruising down the Nile River. Can you believe it?
Beautiful Nile River.
You can. I hear you. So tell everybody who you are.
So I'm Kerry-Ann Dixon. I am mother to Aaron and a mother to Rayshawn.
Hey, Rayshawn, come on over here. Let's show you. Come on, let's see your face. Come on in here. Just stoop down in here. So, yeah. So that's Rayshawn back there. All right, you're here, in Egypt, and Aaron, how old are you?
5.
5. So she's 5, and you decided to bring your daughter
Yes.
on this cruise. Why?
Why not? Because I think that 5 is the age that she'll actually have a memory of this. And I think it's important to lay the foundation so that she knows who she is and whose she is. And I think that will add to her confidence and to help her in her decision making as she grows and becomes this beautiful black woman. And I think she's going to need that as a beautiful black woman to be able to navigate this world.
How do you think travel adds to the confidence component?
I think that it adds to it in terms of giving her exposure to seeing other places and actually seeing it for herself, to be able to say no, like when she in school and say wait, and she is that girl that will say, well no, that's not what I learned, that's not what my mommy said, or that's not what I saw, and she will actually take them, like expand the teacher and forces the teacher
Like the
to
teacher,
expand. Right.
Right.
And so I think that just having that exposure to seeing things, because I think exposure is everything, and being able to not only read about it but to be able to then put the pictures to it, because once we go home I'm actually going to put together a book
Oh, really?
for her of the pictures and images that we've done.
Oh, wow.
And so that she'll have that, and I was intentional in a lot of the things that she did, so she actually climbed the top of the pyramid.
She went in the
She went
pyramid.
in the pyramid, yes, and went all the way to the top, sweaty and all.
All that
And
human
all
humidity in
of
there.
it. And even today, going through the temple, some of the same structures was the same that was in the pyramid, and she
Okay.
recognized it. And she's like, well, this is like the temple, Mom. So just having that memory and having those moments is just priceless, and it's just going to be up from here.
Why do you think, or do you think that many parents, I want to phrase this the right way, yeah, without putting you on the spot too much. Maybe I need to just put myself on the spot and just, in my observation, let me just do it like that.
Right.
I've seen where a lot of parents are not willing to make this type of investment into their child. They don't see the value in it. They say, well, I'll take them to, and not that Disney World is a bad place or anything like that, but they would opt for something cheaper.
Yeah.
And they have the resources. It's not a parent who doesn't have the resources, but for the parent who has the resources that might not see the value in bringing them to the continent of Africa, and they would opt for, Carowinds or King's Dominion or Disney World. Or am I doing this? I'm saying this. All
I
right.
completely got you.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that you can do both, but we just did Disney for her birthday in August.
Okay.
However, the amount of money that we spent on Disney, it's nothing for parents to just dish it out and don't even think twice about it. But truly, what value is Disney bringing, other than actually building up Disney stocks?
That's true. Just buy some Disney stock and go.
Yeah, unless you got Disney stocks,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a good
right.
thing. But outside of that, yes, it creates memories, but the learning part of it and just building the foundation of who you are. Because I think in having them separate ages like that, where Rayshawn is 22.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a second. We talk about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk down that road too.
And so having gone through that and knowing and seeing the difference in the dynamics of the investment of laying that foundation and knowing how fast it goes, I think it's important to it's an investment, and I think it's not anything that I was willing to skimp on. Mm-hmm. And I'm at a different place in my life now than I was.
I said we were gonna walk down that road because it's 18 years between the two, right?
17 years.
17 years between the two.
Yeah.
You were a young mom with Rayshawn, right?
Yes.
And tell me about that, Because did you want to do that? Were you of the mindset to want to travel?
Well, yes, I wanted to travel. We're Jamaican, so
Okay.
he did go to Jamaica a lot. He probably went to Jamaica every summer, more than I did.
Ah, gotcha.
Because he went with my mom.
Understood.
Or my parents. So it was going and doing that, but learning that his culture in terms of like the family culture was like that. And I think that was something that was important for him to have. And he did have that. But again, I just didn't have the means to be able to do it as much as I wanted to. So this time around, like when I think like right after she was born, I was telling her dad, like, because his cousin travels to the continent on a regular basis.
Got it.
So I said, you need to, arrange with Torrance. We going there for her 5th birthday. And he was like, he's like, you can talk to Torrance.
Just work it out, make it happen.
Yeah. So, and then this came about actually when I saw the information session for Urban Intellect was during the month of my bravery month. So I did like a 30 days of bravery where every day of the month of March I did something that was taking me out of my comfort zone and stretching me. And so this came during that time. So I was like, let me listen to this information session and see what happens.
And so here you are.
Here I am.
With both of your children.
With both of them, yes.
Because Rayshawn is here too.
Yes. And he just graduated from college, so
he's 22.
He's 22, just graduated. So I think that yes, he has had contract work, but he hasn't had anything that's like his solid like career work.
Understood.
And I think that that's intentional because I think that everything happens for a reason, and I think that God kind of puts you in places and positions to kind of just pause for a little bit if it's time for you to pause.
Right, I got it.
Because it could have been just boom, 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 and he graduated and rolled into whatever, he wouldn't have been able to come. But for him to be able to have the opportunity to come and see this, I think that sets him up for the rest of his life. Because now he's had a taste of this and he's like, oh, well, I got to do this again.
And there's so much to explore. This is like the first of many. That's the thing I always say, that Egypt is one experience, but then you have places like Tanzania and Kenya, very different experiences. Then you have Ghana, of course. You have South Africa, all these different experiences. And they're educational as well as leisure as well as entertainment. We try to balance it out to where you get a little bit of each, so more bang for your buck. So it's like, okay, I did have a vacation, but I also learned something at the same time. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just so important. I think just building the confidence and really, truly seeing and learning where you come from and understanding it, and it's priceless. So it's an investment.
Well, we're glad that you trusted us with this, and we want to make sure that we represent Black excellence on so many different levels, and you trusting us, and everyone who's on these different experiences trusting us. So we want to make sure that we deliver.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say to that parent who's afraid of Africa, bringing a child or children to Africa? Have you been afraid or anything?
No, I actually have not been. Because I was an educator in my previous life, so I actually prepped her before we came.
Okay.
And I spoke to her teacher. So her teacher and I kind of incorporated lessons along the way.
Because this is during school time.
This is during school time.
Because a lot of parents, oh no, I'm not taking my child out of that
National Geographic on steroids.
Out of that curriculum, out of that curriculum they're teaching them now. I'm not going to.
Yes, but she's in kindergarten, so a lot of it is what she's learning now.
Yeah.
She just gets the hands-on, and thankfully she goes to a project-based learning school, so all the things that she does in her regular everyday curriculum, I can do it right here with her.
But let's talk about that though, because you've been an educator. A lot of us as parents, we have subscribed to the notion that the American education system is the very best that, and we can't, that that's the best form of learning. I'm being on my best behavior here. But I'm realizing that there's so much more to learn outside of that.
Yes.
And do you think on some levels that we may do our children a disservice by keeping them within that structure of learning?
Yes, because this is science, this is geography, this, like, you can incorporate any of the subject matters within this. I mean, just even how the boat is propelling, like, you can create a whole lesson from that. We're going to the different exhibits, we're reading, we're seeing things. This is geography, this is math, it's
History.
all of that. It's
History.
right? It's all of that wrapped into one. So it doesn't have to be confined to the four walls. And having been an educator,
there she is. There she is. No, but that's what she's able to be free spirited and do her thing, and she's learning at the same time. It's creating an indelible impression in her mind because she's here. And she's like, I remember, and I was talking to these people, and I was doing this, and Auntie Shauna, this, that, and the other, and I remember when I was. It's those childhood memories, yeah. But like you said, the four walls, because we've kind of been conditioned to stay within those four walls of learning when there's so much more. There's an entire world to explore.
Yes. Because when you think about it, formal education doesn't really start until kindergarten. But I've been teaching her since
birth.
Day one. Right.
When she was still in the womb, you were still teaching her, baby, this is what you're going to learn right here.
I was talking to her, playing music. So I was exposing her to so many things. You know, being a nurse, that I do child development and all that kind of stuff. Like, just understanding the developmental part of it.
Yeah.
It didn't start at kindergarten.
Okay.
She started learning way before now. So this was just an addition or an extension of what she's been exposed to.
I've noticed that children who travel have a different vocabulary and a different level of confidence.
Yes.
And I'm glad to see your son here, especially at this point in his life, at being 22, because that's an awkward phase too.
Yeah.
You're still, now you're like, okay, I'm not a baby anymore, I'm not a teenager anymore, I'm out of college. Oh, now we got to figure this thing out. Now we got to put the pieces of this puzzle together. Now I'm thinking, oh, this is, So I'm glad to see him here.
Yes.
Because he's, from what you all have shared with me, my personal observation, he's very talented. Charismatic, has clearly a gift for communication and stage. So now it's just a matter of harnessing that, and sometimes exposure helps to do that too. You see what's available.
Yes, because just even seeing some of the things and having those conversations and seeing how other people live, and it's like, because then you can actually see like where I can fit in within that space and how I can make something happen within that space. So I know his mind is like twirling. And it's a beautiful thing to just watch, like, because I know his potential, but to really be able to sit back and watch him make those decisions. And I don't make the decisions for him, but just kind of guide him and give him well, what do you think about this? And what about this? I create those discrepancies that he needs to be able to make the decision himself and to really get him thinking.
Well, I know you're inspiring a lot of parents who are watching this right now who they want the very best for their children. They want to be able to put them in environments where they can learn and where their confidence can be built up, and where they can begin to use their mind outside of those four walls. And they can now, it stimulates something. And so you're going to be an inspiration for parents who are contemplating, and sometimes we just need to see people who look like us doing these types of things to say that it's okay for us to do it too, and we can do it, and we can afford it, and we can make it happen just like we can afford everything else. We can prioritize and make it happen. That's the deal.
Yes, we want to do 24, so we want to do 2 years.
Oh,
We
okay.
want to do Ghana in 2 years.
Oh, well, come on, Ghana, we'll be there. We'll be there too. That's the deal. So. Well, I thank you for trusting us with this experience, and I thank you for your words of wisdom, and I know that, again, you're inspiring so many other people. So now here's the deal. You've heard. Now the only people missing, or the only person missing, is you, and we hope to see you on one of these amazing travel experiences.